is the essence depleted. Once they find the problem, the healing process is a super logical three-step procedure. First, they pinpoint the exact cause of the imbalance. Second, they intervene directly, whether that means removing a roadblock in circulation, adding to a depleted element, or reducing an overflowing one. And third, they just step back and let the elements return to their original, natural, harmonious state.
I worked as a banker for 30 years, but now I work as an acupuncturist.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a truly fascinating philosophy from ancient Eastern medicine. We'll be looking at how this tradition views your body in very simple terms, essentially as a highly advanced engine. And just like any engine, it runs on very specific types of fuel. So today, we're going to learn all about the 4 distinct elements that keep your engine humming along and exactly what happens when they get out of balance. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the elements of life, then defining the 4 pillars, followed by when imbalance strikes, and finally, restoring your vitality. Let's jump right in. Starting with Section 1, the elements of life, which is basically the engine of your body. To really grasp Eastern medicine, let's keep it in simple English and just think about how a complex machine operates, right? Just like a vehicle absolutely needs oil, gas, and coolant all working together, your internal organs completely depend on the smooth circulation of 4 specific elements. When these elements are generated properly and circulate in perfect balance throughout your body, well, your organs and tissues function exactly as they should. Now, unlike a car that you can just turn off and park in the garage at night, this internal engine of yours has to run continuously for decades. And that constant, lifelong demand is exactly why maintaining the perfect balance of these elements is literally critical to your survival. And this brings us to the ultimate goal of all this internal balance. When your inner engine is perfectly tuned, your body produces something called righteous energy, or Qi. You can kind of think of this as your ultimate protective shield, your immunity. When your 4 elements are in balance, this righteous energy just fills you up, effectively locking the door against sickness and making it incredibly difficult for any illness to enter. Moving on to Section 2, defining the 4 pillars or fueling the system. First up is energy, which is often called Qi. Picture this as the actual electrical current of your body's engine. It literally powers every single life activity you do. It's an invisible life force that isn't just stuck in one place. It's distributed everywhere, from the very surface of your skin right down to the deepest depths of your body. Actually, there are 4 distinct types of Qi, and they all work seamlessly together to maintain your life functions. Next up, we have our second pillar, blood. Now, unlike that invisible energy of Qi, blood is purely physical. It's your delivery system. It's the red liquid that travels strictly through very specific highways, your blood vessels. Its main job? To bind with oxygen and drop off of vital nutrients to every single tissue in your body so they can thrive. Our third pillar is body fluids, known as Janiki. You can think of this as the body's coolant system. These fluids are completely distinct from blood. They're basically the clear waters circulating everywhere outside of your blood vessels. Their primary role is to keep your entire body perfectly moisturized. Whenever this fluid leaves the body, you're seeing it as sweat or tears. It's really fascinating to contrast these 2 liquid networks side by side. On one hand, you've got blood, which is this very strict nutrient highway confined to specific tubes. On the other hand, you have body fluids, which is a clear, everywhere moisture system that cools and hydrates you. So they're both liquids, sure, but they have totally different routes and jobs within your engine. Finally, we have the 4th pillar, essence, or say. This is the deep reserve battery of your body's engine. It's created in the spleen but stored securely in the kidneys. It sits there just like a backup generator, springing into action and spreading throughout the whole body when you need serious physical stamina to support your life activities. You know that incredible second wind you get during a totally exhausting day when you thought you had nothing left? Well, that's your essence kicking in to keep the engine running. So, just to summarize these crucial points, we have 4 distinct pillars. Each one has a very specific job, from acting as a power source, to delivering nutrients, to providing moisture, to serving as a stamina reserve. And they each have a specific territory they occupy to maintain your health. When all 4 are doing their thing, your engine runs flawlessly. All right, let's look at Section 3, when imbalance strikes and the engine starts to sputter. Eastern medicine points to a fundamental concept called hensho, which simply translates to an imbalance. This just means your engine's fluids are no longer in harmony. It happens when the delicate balance, the sheer amount, or the movement of your energy, blood, fluids, or essence gets disrupted. And this imbalance doesn't necessarily just mean you're running on empty. It can happen for a few reasons. It could be having way too much of a specific element or having far too little. For example, if your body fluids run too low, you might start seeing real-world symptoms like chronically dry skin and severe thirst. Or if your essence is depleted, you might experience deep, unshakable chronic fatigue. It could also mean that the fuel is there, but its circulation is stagnant or completely blocked. Or it could just mean the natural movement patterns are thrown out of whack. Any of these issues will make the engine sputter. And here is why that sputtering engine is so incredibly dangerous. If you've let those imbalances go unchecked, that ultimate protective shield we talked about earlier, your righteous energy, it just plummets. The shield drops, your vitality weakens, and that is exactly the moment when your body becomes highly susceptible and disease just sneaks right in. Which leads us to Section 4, restoring your vitality or tuning the engine. When you're sick, an Eastern medicine practitioner doesn't just look at the superficial symptoms. Instead, they act exactly like a skilled mechanic looking under the hood of your car. They meticulously inspect the precise state of your 4 pillars. They're trying to find the root cause, almost like a detective solving a puzzle, asking, is there a problem with the key? Is the blood stuck? Are the fluids low? Is the essence depleted? Once they find the problem, the healing process is a super logical 3-step procedure. First, they pinpoint the exact cause of the imbalance. Second, they intervene directly, whether that means removing a roadblock in circulation, adding to a depleted element, or reducing an overflowing one. And third, they just step back and let the elements return to their original, natural, harmonious state. The beautiful takeaway here is the absolute simplicity of the cure. You aren't just masking a symptom, you're fixing the underlying mechanics. Once the engine's internal elements have the right amounts and are flowing smoothly again, that protective shield, your righteous energy, automatically powers back up, and your entire body's health is completely restored. It really changes how you look at your own health, doesn't it? It kind of makes you wonder, as you go about your day-to-day and just listen to your body, which of your own 4 pillars might be begging for a little bit of a tune-up right now? Are you lacking the electrical spark of energy, or maybe you need to tap into the deep battery of your essence? Take a moment to listen to your internal engine today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.
I worked as a banker for 30